Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Very good morning to all. This is my second presentation for the IIIT training for integration of human sciences. So the task that I'm given today is to deliver a presentation on persuasive communication. So basically, this is the table of content that I'm going to cover today, which includes the definition up until the conclusion. And these are the learning outcomes, hopefully, that I can achieve in today's presentation. By the end of this presentation, the attendees or the audience will be able to understand the principles of persuasive communication from Islamic perspectives. Second, to identify the different techniques and approaches to persuasive communication. Number 3, to know how to apply persuasive communication in different contexts. And lastly, to appreciate how Muslim celebrity preachers use Islamic principles of persuasive communication to spread the beautiful teachings of Islam. So basically, let's begin with the first slide on the definition. Persuasive communication involves influencing others' attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors through messages that are clear, ethical, and empathetic. Persuasive communication is relevant to different contexts, to different occupations, not necessarily professional, but also includes the non-professional dimension. Parents needs to make use of persuasive communication to convince their children to behave in accordance with Islamic teaching. We parents, for example, needs to convince their children that they need to let go of their mobile gaming addiction, so that they'll be able to enjoy life much more fully. So the art of influencing others to agree with point of view, accept your proposal, or take action on your behalf. So the importance of persuasive communication in Islam, the main thing about persuasive communication in Islam is to spread the words, the beautiful messages of Islam, and at the end to clarify any misunderstandings about Islam. There are so many stereotypes and preconceived notions that media circulate about Muslims and Islam. So it would be a very fertile avenue for us to be able to correct those misconceptions about Muslims and Islam, and to be able to spread the beauty of our teachings in the Quran and also Hadith, to emphasize the power of words and responsibility that comes with them. So basically, all of us are teachers in our own capacity. For myself, I'm an academician, and I see this as a very noble responsibility, whereby even though I'm a teacher, maybe at the times, as a Murabi, I play a role as a da'i, callers to Islam, to spread message of wisdom about Islam and to impart values, good values to my students. At-Tamirzi reported that Allah, the angels, and even the ant in its nest and the whale in the sea will pray for the one who teaches people the ways of good. So we should take this responsibility with amanah and try to play our role as a vicegerent or Khalifah in this world to spread the good values of our religion. So I'm going to begin with the principles of persuasive communication from Islamic perspective. There are a few here that I list, but they are not exhaustive lists. The first one is ethical communication. Second, knowing your audience. Number 3 is simplicity and clarity. Number 4, empathy and understanding. Number 5, patience and perseverance. 6, honesty and truthfulness. And finally, respect and courtesy. So let's take a look at the first one, ethical communication. Ethical communication here emphasizes the importance of wisdom and good manners in communication. So I would like to share with you a Quranic verse from Surah An-Nahl, ayah number 1 to 5. The translation is, invite to the way of your Lord with wisdom and good instruction, and argue with them in a way that is best. So basically, in the Hadith, the Prophet, peace upon him, said, whoever believes in Allah and the last day should speak good or remain silent. It is important for us to take care of how we use the words that we utter towards others, especially in conversation. Maybe we engage in a heated debate about something which the two of us, you and your friend, may not agree upon. So if you continue your conversation with rage, there are possibilities that you would end up regret what you say. After all, when we talk about communication, it is irreversible. Once you have said something, you cannot take it back. Of course, you can say, "Pardon me, I'm sorry, I have hurt your feeling," but the damage is already done. Okay, so it is important for us to use wisdom or hikmah, which implies understanding the context and the audience. So what we talk about is wisdom. We should, for example, let's say if we want to correct people's mistake, we have to take into account who are we, who are we addressing, the age of the person. There was this a story about how Rasulullah communicated with a young boy. So this this is a hadith narrated by Bukhari, and he reported that this young boy by the name of Umar ibn Abi Salama, the boy said, when I was young, I was under the care of the Messenger of Allah. So once my hands wandered all over the plate. This is during mealtime. And the messenger said to him, "Oh young boy, say Bismillah, use your right hand, and only get food which is in front of you." So basically, this is what is not verbatim transcription, yeah. But somehow, this message, once he said that from that on, that's the way he ate. Okay, so how powerful that message by the Prophet, even though it was simple, it was short, but it was enough to mobilize a behavior, not just cognitive, not just affective, but towards behavior and into practice. So the hikmah is very important. Number 2 is know your audience. So I cannot stress enough the importance of knowing your audience. Okay, and of course, when we talk about audience, they could be of many different profiles. They could be different in terms of age group, intergenerational context, for example. When we talk about differences, it could be gender differences. Nowadays, it becomes more complicated because we have third gender, so-called third gender, the queer community. So, having that in mind, that there are multiplicities of audiences that we are facing, we need to be able to tailor our content so that we won't offend segments of our audience, so that we will be able to touch their hearts and be able to put across our message to resonate with their experiences and perspectives. Okay, especially in today's context, in our role as business person, as educator, as community leaders, we are confronted with challenges to curate messages, communication messages to different groups of people with different needs and wants. But at the end, we want to achieve the desired goals. Okay, in any communication, we would have a desired goal. Okay, so the sense of purpose is very important in context of communication. Let's say if I'm an advertiser, I want the advertisement to bring about, to evoke certain emotion of wanting to get this product or this particular service that you offered. Not so much because, you may use different methods. For example, hard sell and soft sell. Hard sell means that, for example, you may highlight that we're going to have markdown sales. All right, all prices will be marked down 70%. So that is hard sale. But soft sell is an approach which appeals to your heart. For example, if you're wearing certain brand, it's not just ordinary brand. Like let's say you're wearing Nike, yeah, for example, a shoe, certain brand, yeah. Okay, it's not just about a shoes where you cover yourself, where you cover your food, yeah. It's so much more than that. In the advertisement, it may say about how it brings about comfort spiritually and psychologically is beyond physical needs. So that is an example of how soft sell works its magic. So that maybe is persuasive enough to lure your prospect, customers to go to the store and buy the shoes. Okay, so but basically it's important for us to know our audience so that we'll be able to custom tailor. But nowadays in marketing, in advertising and so on, we have segmentation of audiences. It's not mass messages that we're talking about. It's not one size fits all messages. Okay, so knowing that is also very important when we want to spread the message of Islam for Da'i, for example. So these principles rooted in Islamic teachings provide a timeless framework for engaging, persuading audiences in any context. But what I want to emphasize here is that this Islamic teaching transcends across generations and would always be relevant. How modern, how cosmopolitan, how advanced we become, we would still be seeing that the principles would be able to guide us across different generations and time. Okay, so in terms of Quranic verse that resonates with that is the Surah Taha, verse 28, where the importance of making speech understandable is highlighted. In modern context, this means adapting your language and focus to suit the audience needs. So basically, again, this is the continuation of the clarity of message that we want to put across. And at the same time, to also build empathy and connection. So be able to understand what are the challenges faced by your audience. Okay, how are you going to create a message that is easily understood and deciphered by them? And another one is enhancing clarity and impact. Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 242, emphasizes making revelations clear for understanding. In contemporary communication, this translates to using clear, concise language and appropriate examples that resonate with the audience. So basically, nowadays, our audience are much more sophisticated, are much more complicated in the sense that they need more assistance, they need more emphasis, not just in the form of words that you utter, but also in the form of visual aids, in the form of messages, in the form of examples that you can bring in order to make it much more clearer. So the application persuasive communication, the hadith from Jami' al-Tirmizi, okay, that highlights the importance of conveying messages accurately and understanding the audience's capacity. So basically, if you're addressing children, lower down your level of language, don't use bombastic words, jargon words. Yeah? For example, if you want to say stage fright, use stage fright. Do not use the word terms, for example, communication apprehension, right? So don't use big words. I would like to share with you a story that I always share with my students. This is the conversation between a superior and a subordinate. Once he called the subordinates, and he said that, okay, Ali, I have personally selected you to relinquish your position so that we can move smoothly into the 21st century. Okay, so Ali said, for a minute, I thought I was being sacked. Okay, so here, you know, the what is the problem here? So basically, when the boss uses a word which is not what you call a conversation, not an everyday common word. For example, relinquish position. Relinquish is actually, for the layman, the term is actually to fire you. I'm firing you now. But so that message, because it was not clear, it was not understood by the subordinates. Okay. Number 3 is simplicity and clarity. Simplicity in language. This is also to emphasize the previous point. Makes communication more relatable and effective. So basically, clarity is very important to avoid misunderstanding. So Prophet Muhammad is known for being a person with concise speech and using few words and making his message accessible and memorable. Okay, for example, when explaining the pillars of Islam, the Prophet used straightforward language and used simple analogies so that the audience would understand the message better. Number 4 is empathy and understanding. So basically, empathy is the ability for you to put yourself into someone else's shoes. So as a speaker, as a communicator, sometimes we are so overwhelmed by the content that we have, by the knowledge that we have, and we fail to understand that, the condition of our, the situations faced by our audience. Okay. Surah Al-Imran, verse 159. So by mercy of Allah, O Muhammad, you were lenient with them. And if you had been rude in speech and harsh in heart, they would have disbanded from about you. So pardon them and ask forgiveness for them and consult them in the matter. And when you have decided, then rely upon Allah. Indeed, Allah loves those who rely upon Him. So the key words here are lenient, not be rude in speech and harsh. Okay, we easily get ourselves enraged whenever we are confronted with people who are difficult. Okay, so that's common because that's human to be subjected to ignorance, to whims. All of these are common of human being because it's part of human nature. But how are we overcoming that? Be able to put that aside. Be able to put our feelings and emotions aside and to think about the other party. Those who are receiving the message that we put across. So there is empathy in communication, which would be able to foster understanding and cooperation. The Prophet Muhammad said, none of you truly believes until he loves for his brother what he loves for himself. Okay, so this hadith encourages empathy and consideration for others' needs and feelings. There's also this very beautiful incident where to showcase this point, where a Bedouin, urinating in a mosque was a prime example. Instead of reacting with anger, Prophet understood the man's ignorance because he may not understand, he may not know that this is the holy place where it should be pure, clean, right? And use this as an opportunity to teach that person. Instructing his companions to clean the area and gently explaining the sanctity of the mosque to the Bedouin. So this example is a good method to be used to handle situations which may encourage on our part. But if we are in self-control and we are able to engage in compassion and wisdom, we will be able to put across a persuasive message about Muslim as being compassionate, as being people with wisdom. Okay, number 5 is patience and perseverance. So patience, it's easy to say, you should be sabar, we should be persevere, we should adopt perseverance. But imagine, Prophet Muhammad suffered from a lot of atrocities in his life. Boycott, physical torture, all throughout his life. Okay, one year, this was the year of sorrow where he lost his dear ones, his wife, his beloved wife, and his uncle Abu Talib. But then he had to move on. These two figures were his pillars. Okay, were his strength. But despite the loss, he managed to face and to face the hostility of the Quraysh. Quraysh people were very, very treacherous toward the Prophet, but he remained patient. He continued with his mission. So patience and perseverance are two recipes to actually, it's not so much about words that you utter, but so much about the action, right? Emphasize your true patience, but with Allah's guidance, with Allah's help. As long as you devote yourself to Allah, you'll be able to see challenges, turbulences as tests in this world. After all, in this world, we are being tested to see whether we are worthy of the Jannah later in the hereafter. So patience and calamity teaching, the teaching of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam taught that true patience is demonstrated at the onset of a calamity. So this is where patience is tested, when you are faced with calamity. So this is where, for example, this is a story where a woman was weeping at the grave. he did not recognize who the Prophet. Prophet said, uh, he responded harshly to Prophet. But then later, when he realized who Prophet was, she apologized, and that shows how Prophet did not react negatively upon receiving the harsh response from the lady. But the patience um, actually bring about positive image about the Prophet and a true representation of his exemplary behavior. Okay. Let me go on to, for example, perseverance in battle. Imagine in battle, how are we going to, we are deprived of food, we are deprived of many basic needs, but somehow Muslims and companions and Prophet at that time, they persevered, they withstand the pains and the sufferings that they have had with perseverance. In the Battle of Uhud, for example, Muslim initially had the upper hand, but due to a strategic error, they faced a setback. So, of course, at that time during the battle, Muslims were often outnumbered. But somehow, their perseverance at the end, the steadfastness actually was very was the strength of their fights in the subsequent battles that they encountered. Honesty and truthfulness. So Prophet Muhammad was known as Al-Amin and as-Sadiq, trustworthy and the truthful among the Quraysh. So that was their already established reputation among the Quraysh. So he was known not only for being honest, for his wisdoms, for his action, but also people trust him. So, and listen to his message. So that's why once he gathered the Quraysh on the Mount Safa to deliver his message, he first asked them if they would believe him if he warned of an impending attack, and they affirmed his truthfulness, which he then used to introduce his prophetic mission. So in the Quran, there's a Surah Al-Ahzab, verse 70, urging believers to speak words that are just and truthful, reflecting the Prophet's own practice. So we may argue that, for example, prophets live in different time, but somehow this surah, enables us, opens our eyes that believers, as believers, we should speak words that are just and truthful, and we should be carrying these exemplary behaviors in our lives as a Muslim, okay, as a Muslim, and in our interaction with others. Number 7 is respect and courtesy. So when we talk about interaction with others, Prophet treated everyone with respect, whether they are believers or non-believers. Okay, when he hosted delegations from different tribes, he would embrace them with wisdom and courtesy. And because of those positive behaviors and actions, and they treated them with honors and courtesy, that often led them to accepting Islam. Okay, and then we are going to the next one, which is techniques and approaches. Techniques and approaches. So there are many techniques and approaches to persuasive communication. Okay, I'm going to cover some of them here because of time limitation. Ethos, pathos, logos. These are the models of persuasive communication. And then there are also other aspects or techniques that we can use to enhance our communication in our capacity as a marketer, as a physician, as a teacher, as an educator, as a da'i. We can use storytelling. Okay, so that's why storytelling, even though I know that storytelling is, I love storytelling. Yeah, I love to listen to stories. I love listening to stories shared by different people, regardless of their religion, regardless of their culture. Because I look forward to listen to the stories, because stories exemplifies and represents some cultures, customs, the do's and the don'ts. So it's very rich. And another one is metaphors and analogies. Using metaphors and analogies are important to expand and audience understanding of what the message that we put across. The use of data and statistics are also important. This is to convince people of the real world statistics and figures, facts and figures, especially if you want to convince them that we need to embark on this new AI technology in our work culture so that we'll be able to increase productivity by such and such percent. Okay, there are many ample evidences, from other industries that when they implement this as a change plan, they have able to reap the benefits. Visual aids, of course, when delivering what do you call that? For example, PSA, for example, capsule. Let's say capsule that gets into social media or in the television. It would be helpful to for the message that we put across to be aided with visual aids, so that they can visualize the relevance of the message upon them. They can see the summary and the what do you call that? The relevance of the different infographics that are used to increase the understanding of certain message. Call to action. This is actually at the end goal of a persuasive communication. It could be call to action to buy a certain product or to enroll in our postgraduate program at the Department of Communication as a result of our campaign, or call to action to convert, to embrace Islam, or to get to know more about Islam. Okay, so there are, this is the end that we want, the desired goal. Okay, so let's move on to techniques and approach. The first one is ethos. Ethos refer to the credibility of the speaker. So basically, when you carry the role of, let's say, an educator or as a da'i, audience people assess your credibility, whether you have the body of knowledge in the area that you are preaching, whether you have the right credential, the experience for you to deliver a talk in this particular topic, whether you are the subject matter expert. So it involves establishing trust and authority with the audience. For example, a doctor giving health advice is more persuasive due to their expertise. If I were to give, I'm not a medical doctor, but if I give an advice about how to treat cancer or how to treat certain ailments, so I may not be fiqh enough. I may not be credible enough. So I don't expect, because I know I'm not an expert, I don't expect that that person will be convinced of what I'm saying, because I don't have that credibility. I may read, I may read some literatures on health literature, but that may not be enough because I'm not practicing a medic. I'm not practicing. I'm not a practicing physician. Number two is pathos. Pathos is the emotional appeal. So this is another technique, not just the credibility, but also the emotional appeal that you weave into your content. So when you curate or you design, let's say you are an educator like me, when I design my instruction, what you call as the instructional design of my course, I must make sure that I will be able to appeal to the emotions of my students. Let's say I'm making a lesson plan for every week. I'm meeting them 2 times a week. But what will be the lesson plan? How do I make sure that they understand? How do I make sure that they see this thing as important? Okay, especially because I'm teaching research method. It's quite a dry subject. How to reason to them that knowing this, there's different type of analysis and the different methods to study social phenomena. you need to understand there are different approaches or methodologies that you can use. So to be able to appeal to them, so I have to use a lot of approaches. For example, I use debate in the class. I give them scenarios. I want them to apply what they learn, the theories, and the philosophies, and put them into real context situations. So I let them to be able to suggest proposal on how to, what type of methods they will be able to garner richer data, okay, or maybe to get what they call a more holistic approach, a holistic data, by using different methods, for example. So, for instance, using touching story to highlight the importance of a cause. Okay, for example, let's say you want to talk about parenting. Yeah, parenting. Sometimes children take their parents for granted. We were children, we were young, so we had been through that. Maybe at that time we were not serious. We did not feel enough about our parents. We love our parents, but not we don't understand for real. But somehow when we grow up, then only we understand why our parents, taught us, asked us to do this and that. So maybe that when your parents pass away, maybe you can, tell the children. Let's say for example, you are giving a training on parenting, on perubahan sikap, on how to change attitudes to be a better Muslim or to be a better child. So maybe you can give different situations whereby children, are given hypothetical situations whereby, one day your parents will die. I have attended this kind of training before. So at the end of the training, my son came running to me and cried. It's not very common for a son to be hugging and crying, after attending a training. So I was so surprised. And then he gave me a letter stating that, he said that, I'm sorry, mommy. Okay, so and so. So pouring his heart out to me. So that was the emotional appeal. So I thought that training was very good. Okay, number 3 is logos. It's the logical argument. It involves using facts, data, and logical reasoning to support your message. Okay, for example, presenting statistics to back up your claims. So let's say, if we come up with this new product line, we will be able to increase our sales by 20% by next year. So giving facts and figures. So it is important in the techniques and approach of persuasive communication that you are able to balance logic and emotion. Yeah? Balancing logic and emotion. Okay, next is to use storytelling, using narratives and stories to illustrate points. Like I mentioned just now, stories are very important. Many trainers, motivational speakers use stories to illustrate or to make, to emphasize the points that they're making. As you remember, I read many years ago. I watched a video by a motivational speaker. She said that she has underwent different, marriages, many marriages and divorces. So she said that she has the credibility to talk about marital strength, marital relationship. So she showed different. She told different stories about how it is important for us to actually engage in real moment. Real moment is simple. It's a simple concept. Okay, so in Islam, real moment is like khusyuk. How many times have you enjoyed khusyuk in prayer? How many times have you felt sweetness in your prayer? Okay, so I'm talking about myself. I'm introspecting myself. This week actually, someone called me, and we have not had any conversation for many years. So he called me, and suddenly, why is he calling me? He said that, he's suffering from a very serious sickness. He's suffering. He has problem with heart, kidney, diabetic, so on and so forth. So it's a full-fledged multiple disease. So he said that he did not want to get any more treatment because he said that he's radar. And the purpose of him calling me is to just to say that I'm sorry. I would like to say sorry to you because you have been very supportive of me. Okay, and I said that I just want to call you because I want to say I'm sorry. I want to say I thank you. Should I leave this world tomorrow? I feel that solace because if you have if you've given me your forgiveness. I see you did not. You have never hurt my feeling. You have never hurt my feeling. So you don't worry about that. I forgive you and you also forgive me for my wrongdoings. We do not know, eh? Maybe we didn't realize that we have hurt someone's feeling along the way. So so this kind of storytelling will be able to make you understand the beauty of friendship. Okay, the beauty of honoring relationship. Okay, always remember people. I know along in your lifetime, yeah, I'm in my 50s. I have so many friends, but can you afford to follow, you know, their whereabouts, to be keep in touch with them, you know, every now and then? No, but then when something happened in your life, a milestone, for example, if you're sick, you start to remember someone. Okay, example for storytelling, yeah? Metaphors and analogies, using metaphors and analogies to simplify complex ideas, make them more relatable. Okay, for example, a financial advisor comparing investment strategies to planting and nurturing a tree. So basically, when we use analogies and metaphors, they may not be related, but they are through creative approach, you'll be able to see the relevance of why you use the analogy of plants and trees to illustrate longevity, to illustrate long-term growth, sustainability. Visual aids, of course, visual aids are important. Nowadays, with the AIs and with all the tools that we have, it's quite handy, yeah, to having all these visual tools to help us to enhance our presentation. Okay, I still remember that in one of my consultancy tasks, I put on the head of an academician. You know? Academician, we like to showcase numbers, statistics, reliability. We want to boast all these figures and statistics, but they don't appreciate it. People in the industry, they don't appreciate that. They want to know, so what? So with all these numbers, so what can you tell us? What can we do? They prefer like just one slide with different infographics with less wordy, so that they will be able to see the representation, the summary of what you have gathered. Finally, it's call to action, clearly instructing the audience on what action to take next, making easy for them to respond to the message. So, for example, an advertisement ending with a strong CTA, such as call now or visit our website to learn more, or maybe 100 early birds will get mystery gifts. So that's enough to let you move to go to the store or to go online to buy those, yeah, because there are not many. Let's say we only have 100 of these items, so hurry up. You don't want to regret for being late. Okay, so that's enough to call to action. Okay, next, key context within which persuasive communication takes place. Okay, so I'm just giving a few key contexts. For example, as a salesperson, educator, healthcare professional, marketing professionals, and project manager. So I will give you some scenarios. For example, a salesperson selling a new software solution to a potential client. So I will use the three models: ethos, pathos, and logos. Ethos is your credibility, highlight your expertise and the company's reputation in the industry. So you may say that we are the market leader in this area. Right, we are the market leader in IT, so you have chosen the right company to do this project for you. Pathos, share a success story of a similar client who benefited from the software. Let's say the software that this is a newly developed software, but then you already have a few clients, the early innovators. So they have somehow bought the software from you, and you said that the clients have somehow enjoyed increased profits upon using the software for 6 months. They already see that the trend is positive. Logos present data and statistics to support your claims. So it is important for us to give statistics, figures of the competitors, right? If you don't somehow, this is to convince them that if you don't use this software, you will be missing out. Yeah, fear of missing out. So here that you'll be left behind, because when we talk about today's IT world, it is very, very fast. Okay, you cannot afford to be left behind, to be lagging behind. Number two situation is educator, encouraging students to participate in a new extracurricular activities. Okay, for example, you want to establish your credit as an ethos. Yeah? You want to establish your credibility as an experienced teacher, educator. So you may tell your students that, I've been teaching for 30 years old. For 30 years, sorry. I've been teaching for 30 years. And I see there are so many extracurricular activities that we have organized, but this one is really special. Okay, so you want to establish, this one is really special. So you want to establish your credibility, having 30 years of experience teaching. Pathos appeal to students' emotion by discussing the fun and friendship they can gain. So when you join this new extracurricular activity, you'll be enjoying a lot of benefits, such as you'll be meeting new friends. You'll be meeting new friends from different countries, okay, and you get more skills. So that might be enough to excite the students to join this new extracurricular activity. And then finally, to give them evidence, to give them vivid, evidence, facts and figures as how this participation, if they participate, would enable them to increase their skills, increase their soft skills, improve their soft skills, and maybe to indirectly improve their academic performance. Okay, the third situation is healthcare professional. Healthcare professional, so we have a scenario here, persuading a patient to adopt a healthier lifestyle. Okay, so I know that whenever we go and see our doctor, it will not be always beautiful, isn't it? They will always, especially when you're getting older and older, there will always be issues. So here, maybe when you see your doctor may be asking you, of course, when I talk about doctors, a physician, leverage your medical expertise and patient care experience. Maybe your doctor says, I have, that I have opened this clinic for so long in Ampang Puteri, for example. So you know the credibility of this person, this particular doctor. And then the pathos, share a personal story or patient testimonial about the benefits of a healthy lifestyle. For example, let's say they prescribe, certain medications or supplements for you to use. And this can boost your energy, especially. Yeah? Let's say now you suffer from fatigue, lethargy and so on. So maybe in order to enhance that, you can take some supplements or to get rid of your sedentary lifestyle. Let you to get into movement. Do exercise, routine exercise, consistent exercise for at least 30 minutes a day. And you have to somehow, your doctor might share. So these are some of my patients, and they have reduced their weight by 30%. They're no longer obese, and then they now enjoy a more quality life. A more quality life. So that's good enough. So logos provide clear evidence-based recommendations statistics, so they can share with you statistics from Ministry of Health, from the World Health Organization on obesity, on cancer, on the rise, on many other illnesses, for example diabetes, hypertension. So these are the common issues, medical issues among Malaysians. And I came across this particular Instagram yesterday, that the thinnest nation in Asia is Thailand, is Vietnam, and the fattest is Malaysia. So oh my God. All right, so marketing professional scenario, the scenario is creating a campaign to promote a new eco-friendly product. So nowadays, we're talking about ESG, we're talking about if we want to produce a product, we want to be responsible, we want it to be friendly to the environment. So the ethos is to highlight the company's commitment to sustainability. It's not just this is the first time that you do it, but your company is known for many, many years to commit yourself to sustainability. Yeah? So the pathos use emotional appeals to connect with environmentally conscious consumers. So you may use some appeals. For example, it is important for us to, for example, to make sure that the content to use biodegradable, what do you call that? Biodegradable materials to ensure that we are helping the earth to extend its life longer and not to contribute towards the hazardous environment around us. Logos present facts and figures about the product's environmental benefits. So you can see that if you so they will give facts and figures basically. So now you can see that there are different contexts up until marketing professionals. Maybe I like to move on to the next one. Case study. Case study. Muslim celebrity preachers, techniques and approaches. So I've done some case study. I've done some search on the different Muslim Islamic celebrity preachers and what are their techniques and approaches to call in their da'wah, in spreading da'wah on Islam. So there are so many, but these are just a few. But I'm not going to cover them all because of the time limitation. So basically, you know Mufti Meng. Yeah, if you look at him, you can see that he's very radiant. He all smiley, looking very radiant and approachable. So approach that Mufti Meng used is no, and Mufti Meng is known for his engaging and relatable style. He uses humor. Okay, you often see that he used humor. It's not necessarily fully it's not laden with surah and Quranic verses loaded. But somehow he used a more light and easy kind of approach to make it relatable to Muslim, but also non-Muslims. So he has engaged different media tools such as Twitter, IG, and YouTube. And of course, his presence in social media is really felt. So his message that he put across is from personal development to social issues in a manner that is easy to understand and apply. So it emphasizes the importance of kindness. So these are the, what he called the beautiful aspects about the beauty aspect about Islam, kindness, compassion, all right. And to illustrate the importance of those values, he narrated stories from the Prophet's life. Okay, so these are some of the points under the approaches and also techniques used by Mufti Meng. Simplicity and clarity. So his message is straightforward. He will draw on everyday life situations, and so that you easily relate to that. Oh, I've been there. Oh, I know that. So you can see that it somehow appeals to you. Number two, relevance to modern life. So when we talk about stories of the Prophet, those lessons were in distant time, but somehow he is able to draw the parallels between the events, the time, the Prophet's lifetime, the present situation in the contemporary world, so that you'll be able to see the timeliness, the timeless nature of Prophet's teaching. And you can always use it to address situations that you face now. Number three, focus on character and morals. Mufti Meng emphasizes the exemplary characters and morals of the Prophet, such as his honesty, kindness, patience, and so on. So he uses stories as well. As I mentioned just now, storytelling is a very powerful techniques to persuasive communication.
Assalamualaikum, Dr.
Yes.
We have passed already 7 minutes, Dr.
Okay. All right. So let me finish it off. So I will be sharing you this slide. Okay. Let me just conclude. Can I conclude? Okay, so basically, as a conclusion, persuasive communication is deeply rooted in the principle of empathy, clarity, and ethical engagement. I've shared with you different contexts in which persuasive communication can take place, and then you'll be able to see how you can, you can exercise, you can practice those key concepts, those principles, and in different contexts. And you can also refer to some of the exemplary figure in da'wah who have used different methods and strategies to spread the beauty teachings of Islam. So I would like to end this session with wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Wabillahi taufiq. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.